only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The Native American Community Development Institutes Make Voting a Tradition is a culturally specific, year-round, multi-generational approach to increase voter turnout and civic engagement. The fundamental principle of MVAT is that Native Americans are more likely to become politically active when engaged by peers and family. MVAT has created partnerships with local, statewide, and national efforts to increase turnout in BIPOC and other traditionally low turnout groups. Go to NACDI.org, NACDI.org to learn more.
As we head towards colder weather, it's important to make sure you're up to date on vaccinations and protected from COVID-19. The Native American Community Clinic is now administering the updated Pfizer bivalent booster. The updated bivalent booster helps protect against the original COVID-19 strain and against newer Omicron variants. And it will help restore protection that has decreased since previous vaccinations. People aged 12 and older are now recommended to get an updated bivalent booster dose at least 2 months after their last COVID-19 shot. That means the bivalent booster may be given after a person's primary series or after their last booster shot, regardless of what brand you received before. Even if you've already had COVID-19, you should get vaccinated. Right now, at the Native American Community Clinic, you can get COVID-19 vaccines, including updated boosters, at the same visit as other vaccines. However, if you've received a recent monkeypox vaccine, you may need to wait 4 weeks before you can get a COVID-19 vaccine, and you should discuss this with your provider. Schedule your vaccination appointment with the Native American Community Clinic by calling 612-872-8086.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Rain showers tonight with a low of 34, then sunshine on Saturday with a high of 55. The Great Wall has been serving up authentic Peking and Sichuan favorites for over 40 years. The Great Wall is located on France Avenue along the Minneapolis-Edina City line. Check out their menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN 350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Hey, wanted to say a who and a Pinigigi thank you to our civic media network all over Turtle Island. We're really happy that you're stopping in and listening. Wendy, we had a great time Wednesday night. We went to see the documentary at Crooners, and there was almost 200 people there from AM 950, and you were busy. I couldn't get you away. You were busy signing autographs and autograph pictures, and so it was great to see all the people out there that listen to our show.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. We had a fun time.
And of course, they all asked where Ogama was, and we say she's up in the deep north. I've only met Ogama in person, I think 13 or 14 times. I can't even remember. But hey, this is Wendy, where you hear the news that you don't hear anywhere else. So let's get right to it with Ogama with the news.
Hi, Anim Buju, everybody. I'm Ogamaganua. I'm a citizen of the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota, coming to you from central Minnesota, where there is an awful lot of political signs that I do not favor in my area. So, the deep north, it definitely is, but there is some really great stuff happening in the land of Indian country. But I want to touch on an event that's coming up that is local to the Twin Cities here. It's coming up at the end of October. I know we're coming up on Halloween and spooky season and all of those things. So, for our relatives who are clean or who are sober from drugs or alcohol, there is going to be a clean and serene Halloween party on October 30th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Schmidt Artist Loft in St. Paul, Minnesota. They're going to have a costume contest, and the winner gets a $175 tattoo gift card. They're going to have open mic, food and drink, guest speaker Colin Cash, who's one of the founding members of the group Sober Squad. They're also going to have art projects and games and activities for children. It's a family event. It is sponsored by Wellness in the Woods, the Minnesota Young Adults for Recovery, and a whole bunch of other really great recovery groups, including Sober Squad and others. So if you're looking for something clean and serene for Halloween, check out the Schmidt Artist Lofts in St. Paul for the Clean Serene Halloween party. Just want to bring that up. Another thing that's kind of been circulating on my social media that I guess wasn't really new, but it is new that it's on Disney Plus, is that the movie Bambi has an Arapaho language version that was recorded in the mid 90s, 95, 96. And you can now stream that on Disney Plus. But there's also two other Disney movies that are available in indigenous languages. So the movie Bambi is available in Arapaho. And they also, I believe, have it in Maori as well on Disney Plus. Oh, excuse me. They have a Maori language version of Frozen, which is set to release in select cinemas in New Zealand and Australia later this month. Pardon me, I misspoke there. But they also have The Lion King, which is available in the Zulu language, which is a Bantu language spoken by about 9 million people in South Africa. And they also have a Tahitian version of the film Moana. And Tahitian is a Polynesian language spoken in Tahiti and other islands in Polynesia, where Moana took place, or the movie is set to have taken place. So I'm really excited to see that, Robert. Wendy, how about you?
I know that is so exciting. I know Bambi traumatized me as a small child when I heard the first scene. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll do that in
in a different language.
It'll do it in Arapaho the same way it did it in English, right?
Well, I like that Halloween party you talked about there. That's right down the street. And Wendy, we have a plethora of costumes that we haven't worn in a few years.
And I always like to get another tattoo.
Yeah,
it's hard to find clean and sober Halloween events. So that is why I definitely wanted to put that up for our relatives who are walking that red road and taking care of themselves in that way. So Robert, that includes you, and it sounds like a lot of fun to do a costume contest, because I don't think I've done a costume contest since I was a kid. So
one of my favorite Wendy costumes was when she played what was her name on 50?
It's from Saturday Night Live character Mary Catherine.
Yeah.
She used to, what did she used to say?
She kicked her leg out and said, "I'm 50."
Yeah, I want it. It's old. It's an old character, so I don't know how many people remember her, but that's who I was, and I won first prize.
Oh, that's funny. I had a friend who went as that character from the Seinfeld show, the show Seinfeld. Was it Elaine? She had an episode where she danced, and it was called Little Kicks. And she was a really terrible dancer. And I had a friend who went as her one year. I thought that was pretty creative. It was pretty funny. Every time people asked who she was, she did the dance, and only people who had seen the show got what she was.
Right.
I saw a funny meme on Facebook where Native women that try to dress up like Wednesday or what is it?
Wednesday Addams.
Wednesday Addams. Thank you, Wendy. I'm looking at Wendy and saying Wednesday. They end up looking like Thomas. They end up looking like Thomas.
Oh yeah, Thomas. Yes. From Smoke Signals. Yeah, when you want to go with Wednesday Addams, but you look like Thomas instead.
Right.
I think I've seen that one too. Before we get too far into some of that other news, I want to touch on just a couple more things. There's 2 Indigenous women who are in the Miss America and Miss USA pageants in the coming weeks. Miss North Dakota USA, Sanoa LaRock of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians is going to be at the Miss USA pageant on Monday, or was at the Miss USA pageant, on Monday, October 3rd at the Grand Sierra Resort in Reno, Nevada. And then Rachel Evangelisto, who's standing Rock Sioux and was named Miss Minnesota in 2022, and the first Indigenous woman ever chosen for the title, is going to compete in the Miss America pageant in December at the Mohegan Sun, which is owned and operated by the Mohegan tribe in Connecticut. So that is super exciting. And I'm pretty excited to see Minnesota represented, excited to see our neighbors and relatives in North Dakota represented, and seeing Native women in that spotlight. We're seeing a lot more Native women in those places that were traditionally, or that have been held by colonizer standards of beauty. So I'm really happy to see that happening. We could have some changes in 2023, 2024 to NAGPRA. If you remember what NAGPRA is, it's the Native American Graves Protection and Reparations Act. This law basically serves to ensure that human remains and cultural items are essentially repatriated eventually back to their tribes whenever possible. And the Department of the Interior announced earlier this week that they're going to be making changes to NAGPRA. One of those changes is going to be that museums and federal agencies will be required to make inventory and identify human remains and cultural items in their collection. And another change is going to be including them documenting and addressing requests immediately from tribes and Native Hawaiian organizations when human remains and cultural items are discovered on federal or tribal lands. So this comes after consultation and review of the program with about 71 tribes. There is public comment that's going to be accepted on the changes to the Native American Graves Protection and Reparations Act. You can do that at regulations.gov. It's open until January 12th, 2023.
Hey, Pinigigi Ogama with the news. Up next, State Senator of the great state of Minnesota, Mary Kunesh, and then we're going to have a sacred animal section with Wendy Pilot. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Metro State University empowers students to expand their knowledge and advance their careers through high-quality bachelor's and master's programs in high-demand fields. Looking to complete a 4-year degree? Metro State has more than 60 undergraduate programs to choose from. Hoping to move into the next level of your career? Find out which of Metro State's 25-plus graduate programs is right for you. Visit metrostate.edu for upcoming info sessions and to apply. Spring registration is open now. Metro State University, where learning meets living.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN 350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN 350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Bonjour, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Portion of the show is brought to you by J. Selby's, a vegan restaurant on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Oh, hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and geez, State Senator, I saw you a bunch of times on Monday. We were all running in the same crowd there, and it was great to see you. And there was so much going on during Indigenous Day, which is every day for us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a glorious day we had here in Minnesota. Started with that beautiful sunrise ceremony on the beach, Bade-Makaska. And I think we had more people than we've ever had before there to welcome the sun and to bring in the big day. And it was just a beautiful ceremony by the LaPlante father and sons. They always do such a great job, and so much community there. We had our governor, our lieutenant governor, Congresswoman Smith,
Ilhan
Omar, Representative Ilhan Omar. We had so many city and county people there as well, and and state representatives and senators that actually represent that area and had never been there before. I had sent out a big invitation to all of our senators, and I was glad to see a few of them show up. And then we went on to have a really lovely parade over in St. Paul that started at the park, and we marched and walked in the parade. It was pretty fun. So many kids. The great thing is that the route to Mounds Park, where we ended up, there's a number of schools on the way, and so the kids were out waving and cheering. Neighbors were out waving and cheering, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day of sunshine and warmth and good speeches. At one point, when the elder Jerry Dearly and Maggie Lorenz from the Walk on Teepee program were speaking, all of a sudden there appeared 6 eagles just circling over the top of us, and I'm a believer in those kind of signs, so that was a good sign. And then that evening we had the Tiwahe dinner at the History Center, which was just lovely too. So got to spend the whole day with your husband, Wendy.
Lucky you.
Right. And you had a seat for me just in case too.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And
Thanks.
I saw, I didn't recognize your favorite son. And he got a haircut since last time I saw him, but he said hi to me, and it was like, who is that good looking guy? And it was your son.
Yeah. Thank heavens he got that haircut. It was not, he was not rocking that style. So I'm glad that that is gone, and he had to get cleaned up again. When they go back into the office, it's very different than the last 2 years of the pandemic. So he really had to clean up his act.
Well, I heard though too, after he got his haircut too, I heard mullets were coming back, and I was like, what? I was rocking a mini mullet back in the day, but not one of those severe ones.
Yeah. That is not my favorite style. So I'm glad to see that he made some good grooming choices.
And your sister was there, who is just a really powerful person that does a lot in Indian country. And then your 2 daughters too. That was great to see them. And there was a lot of people there. Again, Lieutenant Governor was there. But it was great to see all these. It almost was like different groups that we saw in those.
Yeah, we had a number of people in common at all of the events, but then each one was very, each group was unique to the program that they were serving. I just wanted to go back to, you mentioned that my sister was there, and right now she is waiting for the final approval of the Senate, not in Minnesota, but at the federal level. She was nominated by the president to serve as commissioner of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services administration for Native Americans. So she had a position with Obama's administration, and when it changed, she came back to Minnesota and has been working with NARP and other entities in Indian country. So she's been nominated for this position, and she's just waiting for those final senators to sign off on it, and then she'll get out there and work on community-based projects and training for different Native nations and organizations. And then she also will be charged with working on like Native language preservation, social and economic development. And she started the economic development in Indian country at the Federal Reserve Bank here in Minnesota. And then she's going to be able to do a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's exciting. And we'll have to have her on, because I think in the 6 years we've had her on probably 2 or 3 times, but it's been spread out through 6 years.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have her on with you on a Friday. That'd be fun.
Sure. That would be great. I think, she's just really excited to get out there and to be able to do some of that work that, she's been doing work around in Indian country for the last, well, I would say 40 years at least. And so this is just another notch on her belt, I guess you could say.
No, that's awesome. And I know in working with your sister and in different projects, that she's does stuff in a good way. So that's awesome. There's no big ego there. She's very laid back, and that's the right person for these kind of jobs. So that's a good one.
Yeah. So let's hope that they finally get around to giving her the thumbs up, and she can get out there and start doing some good work.
How long has she been nominated? Is it just recently, or because I know they were saying that a lot of his Biden's people have not been passed through yet. Is that the case, or is it just a recent nomination?
I think she was nominated maybe early July, end of June. But these things really take a long time, and if it's an official Senate approval, then they have, we've seen that where you have to go in and answer for days and days, answer questions and all that stuff. I don't think she has to do that. I think they can sign off on it without having to go through a hearing.
Yeah. So let's talk in this segment. We only got a couple minutes left, but I'd like you to talk a little bit about the last place we went and the great work that I do believe you're a board member of Tawahi.
Yeah, I am. So Tawahi is a a direct granting foundation for urban Indians here in the Twin Cities. And I first became aware of it about 6 years ago, when the director at that time, Kelly Drummer came and visited me at the Capitol and was telling me about this program and their mission. And we get out there and collect the money, and then we do direct grants to individuals, so that they don't have to jump through hoops. And our mission is to give back and invest in our community by investing in individuals. And it could be, a youngster, it could be an elder, it could be somebody who needs steel-toed boots for their job. It could be, one grandma asked for help buying an old res car so she could get her kids back and forth to powwows and to ceremonies, from the Twin Cities to like Standing Rock or the Dakotas. Education, technology, whatever it is, supplies for making drums and beading, and we meet them where they are. And that's the really beautiful thing about it. And I couldn't be prouder to serve on any other foundation like I serve on Tiwahe.
And I just have to say this too, during COVID, and there was no commercials coming in. Every business that was supporting us couldn't pay for, commercial time, and your organization gave us a little stipend to keep us going, and it was just awesome. And I also have heard people getting sewing machines and big cutters so they can make star quilts, because we know those are very difficult to make and they're very rare. So that's great for the community. Mary, we're going to take a quick break here, and we really appreciate you being on. It's the dream team tonight: Ogma, Wendy, you, and me. So just great, all the work you do. And we'll be back with State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Stay with us.
Right on, Wendy. I was waiting for that. Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me one. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
The Native American Community Development Institutes Make Voting a Tradition is a culturally specific, year-round, multi-generational approach to increase voter turnout and civic engagement. The fundamental principle of MVAT is that Native Americans are more likely to become politically active when engaged by peers and family. MVAT has created partnerships with local, statewide, and national efforts to increase turnout in BIPOC and other traditionally low turnout groups. Go to NACDI.org, NACDI.org to learn more.
Hi, everybody. I'm Santita Jackson, and I want you and all your friends to join my new show, The Santita Jackson Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Central on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Patrick. Football season is building up, and so is the nastiness in your carpets and air ducts. It's time to call Zero Res and beat the holiday rush. Every surface Zero Res does is specifically designed to preserve and maximize the life of your investments in your home. But also ask yourself before you turn on your furnace, do you know how much built-up dirt, dander, and other allergens are hiding in your air duct system? With Zero Res this month, the more you buy, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 or 5 rooms starting at $199. That's a 43% savings. Book now to get the best carpet cleaning deal of the season. And don't forget about your air ducts. Help your furnace perform its best this winter by removing all the nasty dirt, dander, and harmful debris from your HVAC system. Plus, Zero Res will give you $75 off any air duct cleaning package. Call 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com to schedule your appointment today.
Hi, I'm Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Warmer weather is here, and that means it's time for home improvement projects. If you're planning a remodel or property upgrade for your home or business, switching to solar energy should be part of your project, and All Energy Solar can help. Most home improvement projects don't pay for themselves until the property is sold, but switching to All Energy Solar is an investment that can actually pay for itself even if you don't sell your property. In fact, after 30 years of operation, solar energy could pay back 300 to 400% of the cost. Plus, a system from All Energy Solar is built to last, not just for years, but decades. Most systems from All Energy Solar come with a 25 to 30-year warranty. So make your home improvement project a better investment that can last and pay for itself by switching to All Energy Solar. Get a free, no-obligation assessment from All Energy Solar by calling 800-620-3370 or visiting allenergysolar.com. That's allenergysolar.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Rain showers tonight with a low of 34, then sunshine on Saturday with a high of 55. The Great Wall has been serving up authentic Peking and Sichuan favorites for over 40 years. The Great Wall is located on France Avenue along the Minneapolis-Edina City line. Check out their menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and I'm trying to turn off this. Welcome, I had to step out, so I'm trying to turn off this. There we go. Wrong button. There we go. And there's a ghost where Mary Kunesh was at one time on the screen. So, Wendy, again, it was so fun seeing the people from AM 950. That always gives us a boost when we were at the fair.
Oh, it definitely
we saw people, and they came up, and then we'd see people from at the documentary, and they were wearing the earrings you sold them.
Yeah, the documentary was really something of something. It's called Vigilante: Georgia's Vote Suppression Hitman.
Oh my God!
And it was really an unbelievable story about the history of voter suppression in the United States.
Well, what's really interesting too is let's talk reality, and I think one of the things they talked about it in the Q&A that really hits home for us, it's not a race war. It's the rich versus the poor, and versus people. I mean, when we were young, Wendy, there was a vibrant middle class. That is all gone now, and it's been an easy deterioration since Ronald Reagan. We used to call him Reagan, because he was going to fight the Russians and all that. But hey, we're back here, and we have State Senator Mary Kunesh of District 39, and I did get that right this time. Thank you. I wrote it down. And
here in Minnesota.
Right. Thank you, Wendy. And Wendy, we always have a good show during the commercials too, because Wendy was like, let's ask Mary what she wants to talk about. And I thought, that's a great idea. Mary, what do you want to talk about?
I really want, and I hope people either are tired of hearing this or are not tired of hearing this, but we are, 26 days until the election. And every election cycle, we say, this is the election of a lifetime. This means everything hinges on this election. But here in Minnesota, it really, really is true. We have our lieutenant governor and governor up for re-election. We have our Secretary of State, who has done a fabulous job of keeping our elections clean and safe and secure. We have our Attorney General Ellison, who has done a fabulous job, has gotten millions and millions of dollars out of the pharmaceuticals to pay back and help support rehabilitation for opioids and addiction that were, really intentionally done, as well as he dealt with the George Floyd and the uprising and the unrest. He's done a fabulous job. And then we've got our state auditor, Julie Blaha, who is, probably the most humorous state auditor in the nation. But all of them are up for election. They all have close elections. So in Minnesota, I would hope that people can get out and get registered either early or get registered the day of and vote. And then all of our Senate seats, all of our representative seats here in Minnesota are also up for re-election. And again, hoping that people will take the time and do their homework, check who is running for their seats, those seats, and their record of representing them or their record of what they've done in their lifetime that is going to meet the needs of the community. And and then get out and vote. But the other thing is look around and see if there's anyone that you can help to get out to vote. If you know somebody who's not registered or says, "Oh, voting isn't my thing. I never vote," or "I can't get to the polls and they're not comfortable voting through mail," offer to give them a ride to the polls, offer to help them understand who's running and find that information. Here in New Brighton, where I live, our mayor is up for election. A couple of our city council members are up for election. School boards are up for election, judges. There's a lot going on, and it could be kind of overwhelming, but you can't complain if you don't participate. So especially in Indian country, please, let's break all of those voting records that we broke 2 years ago. Let's do it again and do it even better this time around.
Exactly. And I just want to bring up a couple things. And one of them is the person that's going up against our Attorney General, Keith Ellison, has never been in the courthouse. He's never tried a case. And Keith Ellison has won every case as our Attorney General here in Minnesota. So that's use some common sense. And then the second thing, State Senator, I agree 100%. I don't know what we're going to do, Wendy, but, bring people to the polls. If they're having problems and they don't realize how important this is, because we're kind of preaching to the choir. The people that listen to our show are voters, are engaged, I'm pretty sure. And if you're thinking not to do it, help people.
Exactly.
Yep. Last time around, we worked really hard with those up north, getting our relatives to the north out voting. Some of those folks have to travel, 120 miles round trip. I mean, that in itself is very sort of, a huge roadblock, pardon the pun. But also, when there are areas that certain municipalities don't want certain people to vote,
right?
They make it very difficult. They make it more uncomfortable. And that's one of the things that Steve Simon has made sure is that there isn't any of that intimidation. Too often, some of these polling sites are at the police station or in areas where our Native folks are not welcome and do not feel comfortable going into. So if you can take a buddy or a bunch of you go together for support and let them know and remind them that this is your constitutional right. I don't know if folks know that. I think it wasn't until was it 1944 before Indians were able to fully vote in the United States. And that really means that, like, my grandpa was not able to vote when his own wife could vote. And at one point it was state by state, they could decide who they would allow to vote. And it wasn't, I think, until the 40s and the 50s until our Native folks were allowed or eligible to vote. And now we can. And it's so important that you take advantage of that. I know there were last time around, I was talking with some elders and trying to encourage them to get out and vote. And they actually said that they didn't even know that they could vote in general elections. They thought they were restricted only to tribal elections. So they had never voted, for a president or a state representative in their lifetime. And it was really a joyous moment when I got a text or a message on my Facebook that, this elder had gone and voted, and they voted for the first time and sent me a picture. And, you know, it was like the biggest reward, one of the biggest rewards I've ever had.
That's awesome, Mary. And we became citizens for the first time in our own country in 1928. And voter suppression was all the way up to the 60s. There was parts of the country where Native Americans couldn't vote until the 60s, and that's my lifetime. So I can see her confusion. It's not stupidity. It's just the way it was, and all over Turtle Island, it was different, like you were saying. And it was also too, that's last cycle we had 9,000 new Native Americans vote up in the deep north for the first time. And as you know, and Wendy knows, if you vote when you're 18, the first time you vote, you're more likely to vote the rest of your life.
Yeah, and so that is another thing is our youth, our young adults who are moving up in age and responsibility and being more proactive in their communities. This is another great way to give back to your community by making sure you're electing people that are going to have the best interest of your community, of the tribes, of the environment. Those, as you were saying, up in the Great North, are under constant threat of mining and other mineral companies coming in and really messing up the communities again, just like Line 3 did. I mean, there are minerals in Minnesota that are very much needed for a green economy in the future, green environment in the future. The thing is that we want to do it as carefully as we can, be the best stewards of those lands. But the other thing is that I really have a problem with these multinational corporations coming in and saying, oh, we're going to be good, we're going to be careful, we're not going to make a mess, we're going to leave everything in really good shape. And we know that that's not the case in general. And so I would like to find a way for, we're talking about building economy, jobs here in Minnesota. Let's find a way to do that ourselves and not be opening it up to foreign companies and people that really don't have an interest in leaving the lands in the best way possible.
All right. They change the name of their corporation after they or they go bankrupt, and then there's nothing we can do to them. So that is a huge deal here, where we have the oil going through our lakes and streams, and pipelines ready to break and spill oil all over our pristine water, and this oil is going to China.
Yeah, and all the jobs that they thought, they said they would bring, once those pipes are in there, it's all controlled remotely. So unless there's a spill or a crack or something like that, really it's being managed by a handful of people at the most, somewhere up in Canada or somewhere in a foreign country. So yeah, we've had legislation here in Minnesota around those sort of issues. I carried a bill where we wanted, whenever a new pipeline was being discussed, there had to be a plan in action of how it's going to be removed or cared for. And you couldn't do anything until that was set, and pipeline companies don't like that.
No, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about, the great work that you do, and that's great to have you on here and just let you speak your truth. But I just want to say a big Peenigigi, State Senator Mary Kunesh, all the great work you've done, not only for Indian country, but for the state of Minnesota. Really, Peenigigi, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, have a good weekend, everyone.
All right. Hey, that was State Senator Mary Kunesh of Minnesota, and we'll be right back with Wendy in our Sacred Portion Animal section.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN 350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN 350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Metro State University empowers students to expand their knowledge and advance their careers through high-quality bachelor's and master's programs in high-demand fields. Looking to complete a 4-year degree? Metro State has more than 60 undergraduate programs to choose from. Hoping to move into the next level of your career? Find out which of Metro State's 25-plus graduate programs is right for you. Visit metrostate.edu for upcoming info sessions and to apply. Spring registration is open now. Metro State University, where learning meets living.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awakened. This is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
And of course, we asked everyone to send a letter addressed to the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., and tell President Biden to immediately release Leonard Peltier. And here's Wendy with our sacred animal portion. Welcome, Wendy. Again, is your arm sore from signing all those autographs when you saw all the people Monday?
Funny. I do appreciate people coming up and saying hi to me and saying that, hey, I didn't know this about this animal, so I appreciate, the information. So thank you very much, all of you out there who appreciate animals and the information I bring out, or just the awareness. That's the whole thing I want to bring, is awareness for animals. My name is Hanajihi Hani, and that means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. So as always, Curtis, thank you for that. And Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajingo, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. It's always my pleasure to work on things. So I just wanted everybody to save the date. This is a shout out from Howling for Wolves, one of our sponsors. Dr. Maureen Hackett is the founder of Howling for Wolves, and we need to save the date February 7th, 2023 for Wolf Day. They're going to have a Wolf Day at the St. Paul State Capitol on February 7th. It's on my calendar. I will be there. We don't have a time yet, so I will keep bringing information about this as we get more information. So I'm sure there's going to be volunteer opportunities, possibly information that you can talk to your legislators about. And what we want to do is have a non-lethal, keep the pack intact. So that's the whole message behind this Save the Date Wolf Day at the Minnesota State Capitol. Non-lethal, keep the pack intact.
I like it. That's a t-shirt.
It's awesome. I also want to give a shout out to Alice. We had lunch today. Yeah, we had a really awesome lunch today with Alice. Alice is a listener of our show, and we became friends with Alice. And we went to an awesome restaurant, Trio. It's Trio, plant-based.
Yes.
It's on 610 Lake Street in Minneapolis, and it's soul food, vegan soul food, comfort food, and it's really something special. It was really delicious.
We met the owner.
The owner is is Lewis Hunter. He's an African-American man, and he's super nice guy. And we had a really nice conversation with him. He came over to the table to say hi to Alice because he knows her because she's there all the time. So I just want to give Trio plant-based 610 Lake Street, Minneapolis, soul food. It was really pretty yummy. I'm telling you, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. So we'll have to get back there and give a shout out to Alice. And she was there with her friend Tom.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a really nice afternoon. It's always nice to get to meet our listeners and kind of just talk and shoot the breeze because we're like-minded people. So as far as like politics, animal issues, human rights, all kinds of things. Veganism. Yeah, she's vegan for a really long time. I am too. So that's great. I was watching, and I haven't finished watching this program, and I will finish it on Netflix. It's called To Be of Service.
Oh.
It's an awesome program if anybody gets a chance to watch it. It's traumatized by combat, newly returned war veterans find solace in service dogs that guide them back to a fully civilian life. And it's really an unbelievable, kind of like a documentary type thing. And they do the dogs and this and that. But 82% of veterans with PTSD who get a service dog report fewer symptoms, and 40% are able to decrease their medications. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Just by having a service dog. 500,000 veterans suffer from PTSD, and many would live much better lives with a service dog, which, we know could really help. So there were individual stories about different soldiers that were really unbelievable. The Department of Defense acknowledges that 15 to 20% of returning veterans have PTSD, and 30 to 40% have psychological difficulties. Yeah, so it's a really unbelievable little story about the dogs and the servicemen and women that they help. And so just kind of take a look at that.
They used to call that shell shocked when I was a kid, and now they've got a better name and a better way to deal with it.
Yeah, it's really something else. I'm looking for another article to read because that's all the information I have right now, and I'm totally not prepared today. So,
I would like to really dig deep. I think we always have our conversations about wolves off the air, and it's just insane what you hear and how important these packs are, how important they bring back vegetation to where they're at, and I mean, Wisconsin, do better. Crazy.
Definitely. Howling for Wolves also put up an article about how our childhood fairy tales gave wolves a bad name. Same as like Native American people, all those old TV shows and all those old programs that were on TV really put wolves and Native American people in a bad light. So wolves deserve a place in our planet just as much as we do. So there's an article here written by Science, and it's written by Christopher Lyle, and it was written on 10/10/22, talking about, like the Three Little Pigs and Little Red Riding Hood, and, all these stories of how the wolves were depicted of deceitful and threatening creatures that would devour our livestock and grandparents. As a child, this article was written by Christopher, said, he had chills when the wolves howled in the films because of all these things that he read about.
Or just when it's a Halloween with a full moon and the wolves howling, and it's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we really need to change how we look at these beautiful animals. We need to keep the pack intact in a non-lethal way. We have to keep these animals. What am I looking at, Robert? You're pointing and I don't know. At the
screen.
Okay. Oh, okay. Nice. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Nina. I appreciate that.
Nina says, nice to see you back, Wendy.
Thank you. I see that. Yes, I love it. So, Howling for Wolves has money where they will pay ranchers who say that, you know, a wolf killed one of their calves or one of their animals there. And you could go online and check that out, because really Howling for Wolves really just wants to keep these animals and is really working with the ranchers, right, and the cattlemen to meet them where they're at, and to you know, they don't want these animals to be killed, because that's what happens. The wolf comes in, kills the baby calf or, you know, one of their animals, and right away the rancher gets his shotgun out and will kill any random wolf. It might not even be the wolf hen. How could you tell which wolf did it, right? They don't really care. They just want to kill a wolf for killing the calf.
Well, one of the interesting things too, and we're down to a minute here. One of the interesting things, Wendy, is that over the years, we've talked about how they help with noisemakers, lights, and things like that. They pay for that for the farmers.
Exactly. Yes. And the Humane Society of the United States also has a program that will work with ranchers also and do that kind of thing. Work and do fences with, you know, yeah, so keep the wolves out in a non-lethal way. So save the date, February 7th, Wolf Day at the Minnesota State Capitol. Non-lethal, keep the pack intact.
Right on. I love that. Hey, thanks, Wendy, for being on. You'll have to have Howling for Wolves
Dr. Maureen Hackett to talk about a little bit more.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, we're still here. We are the seventh generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Now.
Hello, this is Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio. Now